Is this fool's gold with the Giants, or is this a real thing? They just won a series against Phillies yesterday. They have a chance to sweep today, and they've got Kyle Harrison on the mound. They're rolling. They're playing their best baseball right now. We're going to talk to Dave Fleming about it in an hour here on the Morning Roast. Is this fool's gold with the Giants, or do they have staying power? 888-957-9570. Here's Bob Melvin on the bullpen shutting down the Philadelphia Phillies last night.
Probably take a couple of runs at the beginning of the day, and that would be, a good day against that lineup. So, it starts with the first two guys, but then Spencer came in and gave us 4 innings, which was huge. No Duvall today, no Walker today, and then Jelly gives us 2 innings at the end that, he's been pretty much doing all year, but maybe not in that role. So, we've been talking here about players in different roles. Pitchers had to pitch in different roles. This was a huge step for Sean Jelly as well.
Sean Jelly, last 28 days, and I left this guy for dead. Because last year, Sean Jelly's just not good. Couldn't get outs. Earlier this year, he got rocked. We thought it was the Red Auerbach victory cigar whenever he came into a game. Last year, 6.52 ERA in 15 games. Year before, 5.76 ERA. Was just not good. But right now, he has a 2.95 ERA. And he's pitching his best ball over the last 28 days. It really has been a godsend. And yesterday, 2 innings. He gets the final outs there. In the last 2 innings there, gets the win. Sean Jelly. I can't believe I'm saying this, but where would the Giants be without Sean Jelly? And they're like, think about it. He gives up the grand slam last week. Or he gives up the 1 pitch. Blake Snell got a credit in with the 5 runs. But he stabilizes the game, and the Giants come back. He stabilized games here. He's finished games late in the game. You're thinking, wait, what's going on? Why is Sean Jelly in the game? Well, now he's dealing. Give credit to Sean Jelly, man.
Sean Jelly's been excellent. He's another guy they stayed the course with. I think the fans didn't love him, and he wasn't producing early on the first couple of times out. But since then, he's been really good this year. He's developed. They've found a way to find pitching. Why do I believe this team is sustainable, though? Right? It feels this way this morning. You've won a lot of games, and you haven't had a Logan Webb decision throughout that time.
Wow.
You've won a lot of games, and Blake Snell's been pretty close to awful. You've won a lot of games, and you've employed the opener multiple times. You've won a lot of games, and the young guys are all getting unbelievable reps, and they don't look overwhelmed. You're winning games, and Chapman is a veteran presence who has a track record as a player at this level. You're winning games with a bullpen that we all thought was better than the numbers a month ago. A month ago, they were like bottom 5 in every stat. You look up now, hey, you found Randy Rodriguez. Duvall is legit, right? Tyler Rogers, we could argue about how people feel about him. The results are the results, and he is one of the better relievers in the game. When it comes to 8th inning setup men's, guys with holds, things like that, he's been excellent. Things are rounding into form, and they're fighting through adversity, and they're making it work. Right now,
believe this is staying power then?
It feels that way. And when you do it against the Phillies, when I look like a month ago when you played the Phillies, whatever it was,
You got swept.
You looked completely outclassed. And the growth of this team has been closing the gap with the young players.
And closing the gap with the top teams in the National League.
Yes.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about right now is you're 5.5 back of the Dodgers. Pardon me. You're at the top of the wild card. You're 2 games over 500 now. You're winning games at home, which is very, very important. You're 17-10 at home, so you're protecting your home turf. You're pitching with your yard here. The pitching style has been great at Oracle Park now. They're starting to get better and better and better and better and better. You're 8-2 in your last 10. Are they legit? I need to see a little more. I need a couple weeks to see if they're legit, Shasky.
If they back this up and they beat the Yankees this weekend.
2 out of 3.
I feel like that would be a strong 2-week period that you could point to and say, wow. You went on the road and won in a variety of ways. You came home against juggernaut-type teams in the league, and you held your own. I think that would send a big message to the entire National League.
I want to wait until July 1st. I'm going to wait until July 1st. And I know I asked the question whether or not they have staying power or is it fool's gold? But I want to wait until July 1st. Because then the league will have a book. They will have the book about the youngsters here. They'll have the book with Matos and Ramos, and they'll learn how to pitch to them. And how will they adjust to the adjustment the league makes towards them? Look, it all looks good right now with Matos, Ramos, and even Patrick Bailey and Brett Wisely and even Luciano for that matter, and Randy Rodriguez. But where's the league at on them in a month after they see them? And when I look at this next month, obviously the Yankees, right? You got the Yankees this weekend. You go to Arizona Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You go play the defending champion, the Texas Rangers, who are trying to find themselves. Yeah. They have a World Series hangover. You come back home, you play the Astros, and I'm not taking them lightly, even though they're struggling right now. They're the Astros. You play the Angels, you're able to knock them around. I'm expecting 2 out of 3, even a sweep. Then you go to Chicago and play the Cubs. You go to St. Louis, and you come back home and you play the Cubs and the Dodgers. So I think by the end of July, I'll have a better feel for what Matos is, for what Ramos is. Maybe Brett Wisely's not even with this team. But I want another month to see what the youngsters do, because how they counter to the counterpunch this league is about to give them, Shasky. Well, how are they going to counter to it?
Well, here's what I would say is that how you face adversity matters, right? And so you lose the game on Sunday, and then you have to fly all the way back home and play a day game on the West Coast.
Yep.
That's difficult.
That is very tough.
Against a really good Phillies team.
Yep.
All right? Even though they've been out Trey Turner, like that's a really good Phillies team. I think it's one of the...
You see Castellanos' numbers? He is struggling.
Philly fans want him out.
He got off to a great start. Boy, his batting average under 200 now.
But you got to go all the way out, and then you win that game. After blowing the game the day before, right? You win that game against Philly. And then yesterday, you're going up against one of the top pitchers in baseball, clearly one of the class of the NL, and you have a bullpen game, and you go out there and grind it out, all while losing Lamont Wade Jr., who has basically been an all-star through 2 months. Right? If ever there was a day for this team to get down on themselves, it was yesterday, and they grinded out a victory in a fashion that was very unique to the other wins that they've had over the last 2 weeks. So you're asking me why I feel encouraged, and this feels like it has staying power. It's one game, right? They play 162, blah, blah, blah. It's the variety of ways that they've overcome some of the issues that they've had internally, overcome the Snell starts, overcome the injuries, overcome the young players not being ready. Like, they've overcome so much, and I like how they're gelling. And then I see that team after, Fitzgerald slides into home, and the way that they're celebrating. Camaraderie is something I can't measure, but when I watch them on television, I could feel it through the TV.
It's a good vibe. It's a good vibe right now. It's definitely a good vibe. And the vibes hopefully will remain. Do they have staying power? 888-957-9570. Do the Giants have enough staying power? Or is this fool's gold, Giants fans? Where are you at right now when it comes to the belief of this team? They're playing well. They just won their 3rd straight series. And they beat the Phillies now. They've won the series against the Phillies. We circled this homestand 2 weeks ago. What's going to happen when they play the Phillies and the Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, they've already beat the Phillies twice. What happens to the Yankees on the road? And you look at the pitching setup for the Yankees. You get Hicks, Webb, and Snell. You're set up to win that series. Your 3 big boys, your 3 best pitchers on paper are pitching in that series against the Yankees. So I want to see what the next month looks like. I'm going to give this team another month to see what it looks like. Will they be around 500? Will they be 5 games over 500? Will they be 10 games over 500? Will they be under 500 5 games? I don't know whether it's fool's gold or not. I'm enjoying the ride right now.
Yeah.
But I do know the counter's coming to the youngsters. How will they react to the counter? Will they just keep tearing the cover off the ball?
I look at first base right now, and I think it's very vulnerable. You're looking at that 3-hitter, and Lamont Wade Jr.'s played in the leadoff spot. He's been in the 2-hole. He's been in the 3-hole. He's a lefty swinger. He was awesome this year. Defensively, he was awesome as well. Wilmer Flores was really good the last couple of years. He's not good right now. He's got 1 home run. He's 133 at-bats. He's batting .211. He's just not driving the ball. And then defensively, you're going to take a hit. What?
Still reserve. He said .211.
I like that.
.211 still reserve.
I like that.
He's batting still reserve.
But
he's drunk.
It's not good, B. It's not good. And so I think they're very vulnerable right now at first base. And if I'm looking for... I need to know about this Lamont Wade Jr. injury. Is this going to be a 60-day thing? Is this going to be like, because they're saying 4 weeks minimum. 4-week minimum does not make me feel good.
Does not feel good.
I mean, that to me is
what it makes me do?
Pick
up the phone call for Vlad or Pete.
And if you just look at their form, like you saw the rookie last night, it's a great story, and I'm sure that they'll, do the best they can to kind of go through it, but Farhan has shown you he's not going to stick long with that.
No.
You saw it with Blake Sable and the different catchers that they had, Reeks and whatnot, and they or Skeets, excuse me. They couldn't wait to go make a move for Kirk Casale. So I anticipate them finding some sort of a short-term solution at first base if Flores and the other guy can't get it done.
I want to hear from Bob Melvin, or actually Sean Jelly. Let's hear from Sean Jelly. We haven't given him love. He's been pitching well. Here's what Sean Jelly said about his confidence.
Mentioned earlier in the year, just the confidence that clubhouse and the coach staff has been putting in me, and just how much that's meant to me. Going out for multiple innings and getting leverage at innings, and then something like tonight, going out for the 9th and then going back out for the 10th. I mean, that's just the confidence that Bo Mel's putting in me and the rest of the staff and the guys to rally behind me. That's all I need, really. I mean, it's incredible, and guys are playing awesome right now, and it's contagious, and it's really fun to be out there and share the field with those guys right now.
Sean Jelly, did you hear that in the middle of it? He just kind of, it's like the weight of the world was on his shoulders or something like that. Like he was really pressing. And you see the last 28 games, he's got a 2.35 ERA, 1.1 whip. This guy sounds relieved. Doesn't it feel like him and Harrison and Bailey and Matos and Ramos, like all these guys that came up together, there does seem to, like, there's a chemistry. There's a connective. There's a vibe. They want to do this. They feel like there are guys, after we could talk about Farhad in the Favre system, flipping the Favre system. This has started. Is Jelly a Farhad pick?
I don't care. He's been in
the system.
He's been in the system for the last 5 years.
Exactly. So he's been part of Farhad's system.
Yeah. I believe he is.
I mean, for this guy, just hearing how relieved he's like, wow, I'm having some staying power. Yeah. I'm not going back down anytime soon. He feels relieved. Now, Brett Wisely, his play at shortstop. We highlighted this because I do want to fast forward to Luciano.
So good at short.
Here's Bo Mel on Wisely.
It's been pretty solid all year. Anything hit over on the left side typically has been good for us. But I think more than anything, really the guy that has stood out here recently has been Wisely in playing a position that he doesn't normally play. And he looks like a shortstop at this point in time. Obviously, he came out of the game and Fitzy came in. But his play at shortstop's been key for us here recently.
100% agree. And I feel like he's done a really good job getting in front of the ball. I think his arm is underrated. He made a play on just a simple force play at second base that was just a solid play. You got to get outs, and keep the force from first to second, getting the lead runner. He's done a really good job. And what I like about him is I actually think his arm is underrated.
Yeah, he's got a good arm.
I didn't think his arm was that good.
Yeah, no, he's playing well real quick.
And that's something that people have said about Luciano. I know you're going to get into something else here. I haven't been as impressed with Luciano's arm as others. That's just me. I thought it was better. I don't think it's been that good.
Well, here's Eric Burns yesterday with Willard Dibs on Luciano with the options the Giants have with Luciano.
Moving to the outfield. I mean, eventually that's where I think he's going to end up. And he's got great actions and certain times and situations, but I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to play shortstop at the big league level for an entire career. Now, you could go back and say, well, Derek Jeter made all these errors when he was in the minor leagues, and he ended up being fine there. A lot of young kids will make errors. The thing that's a bit disconcerting, at least I can just tell you from an outfielder's perspective, because I was an infielder turned catcher turned outfielder, there's just certain actions that I've seen that I'm like, man, he'd probably be better served just to be in the outfield, and I'm sure it'd be a lot less stress for him.
Here's Herter Pitts.
I agree with him there.
Here's Herter Pitts on the situation. Yeah. Enjoy Willard Dibs.
Well, let's be honest. Like, where else is he going to play right now in the big leagues? I mean, Lamont obviously with the hamstring, but first base would be the closest thing. And is he a first baseman? Well, he does have the athleticism where you could see, are the hands where Brandon Crawford's were? Probably not just yet, but like these tools can be developed. And I think he does have the speed and he has the arm strength. He has a bigger body, but like we're seeing a lot more of those guys do it. I think it just takes kind of reps and like I said, I really believe in being forged through the fire, but Chapman's going to be holding down third base, this season, especially. Second base is Tyro Estrada. This is our guy. So as of right now, like maybe third base, but probably not, or first base, and it would take an injury or a couple injuries to make that possible. So I think keep him at shortstop as long as you can. The other positions, I think personally, are easier to learn on the fly, but shortstop is the most difficult and most challenging.
I don't see him as a third baseman, and going back to the Eric Burns thing about the mannerisms, to me, it's like the footwork and how you how you approach a ball, and he just doesn't look like he's ever done it before. It's kind of wild. Like I reference all the other guys, whether it's Volpe or whether it's Bobby Witt Jr., even O'Neal Cruz and Ellie De La Cruz. Their athleticism is so off the charts, right? That I can give up some of the arm slot stuff, which I hate when they drop their arm and try to throw across their body. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have the same kind of bounce in the feet, and I don't see him getting in front of the ball the way the more fundamental shortstops do it.
Yeah, I don't see it at all, Shasky. The routine plays, the fundamentals. Talking to FP Santangelo about it, and because he was out there as free trading, and we had him on when he was out there as free trading. He kind of warned us of some of these habits that Luciano had as a shortstop, and they weren't good. And he was concerned about Luciano's play at shortstop because we got to pump the brakes here. He needs a lot of work in the field. And now we're starting to see it happen. And if it starts to cost you games, if it's going to cost you games, then you can't play. Because, again, I go back to, as our friend, he wants a New York steak right now. The stakes are high, buddy. Farhan said it. The stakes are too high for you to be experimenting as shortstop, botching routine grounders. So we don't have the time for that. We don't. This is the big leagues. You're not making that play right now at the big league level. Needs a lot of work. Are you good enough to be a DH? I don't know. Are you good enough to be an outfielder? I don't know. But right now, he's an Ahmed out. Because we're going Brett Wisely, and then I'm going Nick Ahmed when he comes back.
And this is going to, people are going to, misconstrue this, but your power at shortstop, like to be a power first baseman, you got to have over-the-top power. Like, again, we talk about Pete Alonso and Vladdy. Right. These guys have 40, 50 home run power, right? So you can live with some of the other things that maybe they don't do. Like, that they're not getting on base. Like Pete Alonso's batting average like 220 or whatever. Right. You live with it because the power is tremendous. I don't know. I don't know about first base for him. I just don't know. But I do believe he loses a lot of his value as a trade piece and just as a player in your system if he's not your shortstop, it feels like it's coming to a head here.
Right. Maybe you just give him some at-bats for Soler. I don't know what you do here, but Luciano, very, very underwhelming. We've been hearing about this kid for so many years. So real quick, go to Verducci and El Dorado Hills. I want to ask you something. MLB records officially incorporating Negro League stats into all their statistics. I want to get into that with you at some point today. Verducci, what's happening, man? You're on the roast. You're on 95.7 The Game.
What's going on, brothers? Good morning. And you guys hit it with Luciano. I mean, at this point, seeing yesterday's game, Soler is just a dud in the lineup at this point. And it sucks that we paid the man, what was it, $13-14 million. And, that might be a good position because Luciano's bat does play, and at least he can kind of keep the line moving. So I like him there. I think, ultimately, maybe you put him in the corner outfield. If Flores doesn't produce, maybe you can try him at first base. But I do think his bat plays, and it needs to be in there. And the reason why it's not fool's gold is you got Conforto coming back, so I think he replaces Yaz in the outfield because at this point, Yaz is just a backup outfielder in my mind that you can replace Conforto in the late innings. I have Ahmed coming back. I think, again, he's a defensive replacement maybe for Wisely in the late innings. But I think once you stabilize the bullpen roles and, you might go get a bullpen arm and then you have some of the guys coming back in the rotation, I think we're butter, baby, because like you said, these guys have come up, a lot of these youngsters, they've played together. There's a chemistry. There's a vibe. Hell, I don't even care if we don't win or make the playoffs. At least they're fun to watch, and there's a joy around that where it was just stale for so many years. And I'm excited. I'm really juiced for this. I see the fans coming back to see 30,000-plus fans last night. I think we're in a good position. So let's keep the good vibes rolling. Let's go, Giants fans. Start showing up, start supporting this team. It's something